I'm Dr. SCL. I'm a dad, a chiropractor, and the translator you didn't know you needed in this, the first year of parenting. This is Decoded, the first year, the podcast that turns baby brain confusion, mum burnout, and milestone panic into clarity you can actually use. Let's make sense of the chaos by decoding it together. If you've ever found yourself late at night Googling your baby's movement and development, wondering if something you're seeing is normal, or worrying that you might be missing something important, then this episode is for you. Because somewhere along the way, conversations about primitive reflexes shifted from something that should bring clarity to something that creates pressure. Parents have been told to watch closely, act quickly, and fix things early before it becomes a problem. And without even realizing it, that message starts to sit in the background like a quiet anxiety. Am I doing enough? Am I catching this early enough? Could I be missing something that matters? Here's the truth. Reflexes were never meant to feel like a countdown. They were never meant to turn you into a monitor of milestones. They are simply a way of understanding how your child's nervous system is organizing itself in real time. So today we're going to clear the noise. We're going to slow this right down and unpack the biggest myths around primitive reflexes so that you can move from confusion back to clarity. There is a reason conversations about primitive reflexes so often leave parents feeling anxious instead of informed. It's not the reflexes themselves, it's the way they are talked about. Somewhere along the way, reflexes became framed as a problem to catch early, fix quickly, and move past before damage is done. And that framing creates fear. So today I want to slow this right down and clear up the biggest misunderstandings, because reflexes are not something to fear, they're something to understand. The first myth is this: primitive reflexes equal diagnoses. They don't. Reflexes are neurological patterns. They are part of how the nervous system organizes itself in early life. As a result, they give us information, not labels. Seeing an active reflex does not mean a child has a condition. It does not predict an outcome, and it does not automatically require intervention. It tells us where the nervous system is today. Nothing more. To reinforce this point, one of the most common questions that is brought to me by fellow chiropractors is, what do I do for a child with retained primitive reflexes? I say this to them, and I say this to you now. That is the most useless phrase in childhood development. It is beige, generic, and fear-mongering. It means nothing. If we are going to talk about a reflex being delayed in its integration, let's at least be specific. The second myth: timelines are treatment plans. This one causes a lot of unnecessary pressure. Yes, reflexes tend to emerge and integrate within certain age ranges, but those ranges are descriptive, not prescriptive. A chart can tell you what often happens. It cannot tell you what should happen for an individual nervous system. Integration is influenced by movement opportunity, health, stress, the environment, and maturation. Two babies can follow very different paths and still arrive at the same outcome. This is why simply saying they should have grown out of it by now is unhelpful and often wrong. The nervous system doesn't follow deadlines. Another big myth: early equals advanced. You've heard me bat on about this forever. Earlier milestones are often celebrated as progress, but they are rarely better. If a skill appears before the underlying reflex patterns have organized, That skill is often built on compensation. Compensations are a house of cards. They might look impressive, but they are not efficient. Neurology values quality, not speed. Integration happens when the system is ready, not when we push it. And this myth comes up all the time. If they can do it once, it's integrated. No. Integration is about consistency and adaptability, commonly demonstrated in repeatability. A child might roll once, sit once, walk a few steps. That doesn't tell us much. What matters is whether the movement is repeatable, smooth, and resilient under different conditions. One-off performances don't reflect neurological organisation, patterns do. And finally, the quiet accelerant behind most of this anxiety, Dr. Google. Google collapses under nuances. It takes complex neurological development and turns it into checklists, red flags, and worst-case scenarios. Commonly, you then see these on social media. Social media and Google doesn't know your child. It doesn't see their movement, and it doesn't understand context. Information without interpretation creates fear. Understanding creates calm. Primitive reflexes are not a ticking clock. They are a window. And when we use that window properly, it reduces anxiety. It doesn't increase it. Now, I know it may seem ironic that here I am on the internet, on social media, batting on about this stuff. But I'm here to try and help you understand, not generate fear. So if there is one thing I want you to take away from today, it is this. You are not meant to feel anxious when you learn about your child's development. You're meant to feel informed, grounded, and clear on what you're actually seeing. Because when we understand reflexes properly, they stop being something we monitor out of fear and start becoming something we observe with confidence. They show us patterns, they give us insight, and they help us support the nervous system without rushing it. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed by timelines, confused by what you've read online, or unsure what actually matters and what doesn't, you're not missing anything. You've just been given information without the right lens. That's exactly why I created the Baby Milestone Decoder. It's designed to help you understand what you're seeing, what actually matters, and how to support your child's development without the noise, pressure, or second guessing. You can find me on the socials at Mount Hawthorn Chiropractic, and there send me a DM with the word decoder, and you'll magically find it in your inbox. Finally, and as always, the goal isn't perfection, it's understanding. That's what I'm here to help you do. Dr. SCL, out. Thanks for listening to Decoded, the first year, where we translate the mess of early parenting into something that actually makes sense. Be sure to share this episode with a friend, a partner, or a mum that you know who is quietly struggling through the noise and secretly Googling every milestone. If you want to hear more decoding, follow at Mount Hawthorn Chiropractic on the socials. Let's keep decoding the chaos. No mansplaining, no pressure, no judgment, just clarity when you need it most. Please note, this podcast isn't medical advice. It's just smart strategies from a Gonstead chiropractor, a dad, and someone who's been in the room with hundreds of mums trying to make sense of their baby's development, their own postpartum recovery, and the constant noise that comes with modern parenting. Always chat with your health team for specific care.